When your horse follows you through the pasture, do you truly know what they are trying to tell you? Most people think it is just curiosity or a simple gesture of approach, but equine behavioral science shows that this type of proximity is deeply linked to safety, social bonding, and attachment to the caregiver. It is one of the most emotional things your horse can do because it involves an active choice to be near you, and not just other horses or the rest of the environment. If you misinterpret or react poorly by pushing them away, being abrupt, or ignoring this contact, you can break that trust, generate frustration, and even associate your presence with negative experiences. This goes against everything we know about building a positive bond between humans and horses. Let's start by understanding what this really means. Have you ever noticed your horse following you in the pasture, but never questioned why? Many owners think it is just a matter of habit, believing they only follow because they have always done so. However, studies on horse social behavior show they actively seek to be near individuals with whom they feel safe, just as they do with preferred herd members in the pasture. In practice, when a horse chooses to follow you, they are demonstrating that your presence functions as a point of security, almost like a social safe haven within that open environment. In natural groups of horses at pasture, animals approach and stay near individuals with whom they have strong bonds, which reduces stress and aggression while increasing affiliative behaviors like walking together and grooming. In other words, the pasture can be an environment full of stimuli such as wind, sounds, other horses, and potential threats. But when they choose to walk behind you, what they are saying biologically is that they feel calmer near you. This security does not appear out of nowhere. It is a reflection of the bond you build over time through consistent handling, care, the absence of unpredictable punishment, and positive experiences by your side. Think about it for a second. Your horse, an animal with flight instincts, chooses to stay close to you instead of exploring the open space alone. This is not just a custom. It is a behavioral marker of trust. The behavior of following the owner is actually a demonstration of attachment rather than just a cute way of being sociable. Recent research has developed specific scales to measure the bond between humans and horses, such as the Human Equine Attachment Scale. This shows that the link is multifaceted, involving companionship, dependency, personal well-being, and even sacrifice on the part of the guardian. Studies on human-horse interaction indicate that horses recognize specific people, discriminate between their facial expressions and voices, and show different responses to known caregivers compared to strangers. In emotional perception tests, horses integrate human facial expressions and tone of voice to interpret whether that human is calm, irritated, or cheerful, adjusting their approach or attention accordingly. To put it simply, science confirms that your horse does not just recognize you. They also read your emotional state and associate you with good or bad experiences. When they follow you in a relaxed way with a loose posture, low neck, and ears in soft attention, this is compatible with a context of positive attachment and perceived safety. This bond is reciprocal. When you respond calmly and consistently, your horse tends to show less reactivity and trust your decisions more, which is described as an improvement in well-being and a reduction in fear behaviors during human-animal interactions. In other words, following you in the pasture is the visible tip of the iceberg of an emotional bond that science can already measure and relate to the well-being and quality of life of horses. Have you ever noticed how your horse approaches you and smells your hands, face, or clothes before or while following you? Horses rely heavily on smell to recognize individuals and contexts, both among members of their own species and with humans. Studies on the perception of human odors by horses show they can differentiate smells produced in distinct emotional contexts, such as fear and joy, responding with specific behaviors like increased vigilance, cautious approach, or relaxation depending on the scent presented. This means that when they approach to smell you, they are not just curious. They are updating information about who you are, how you are feeling, and if that moment is safe. Your smell, your clothes, and even your sweat carry emotional clues that the horse learns to associate with experiences involving you, such as calm handling, light training, affection, or conversely, tense situations. By following you, They combine vision, the sound of your voice, and smell to confirm it is the same person they feel good with. This olfactory and social recognition makes you a stable part of their social territory, similar to a familiar herd member. If this is making sense to you, leave a like and subscribe. This way, more people who really want to understand what their horse is trying to say will have access to this type of science-based content. The following behavior is also deeply rooted in the herd instinct. In natural environments, horses are grazing animals that evolved to live in stable social groups, where proximity to others increases the chance of detecting predators and escaping in time. Research on social behavior in pastures shows that horses organize their relationships around affiliation bonds, hierarchies based on deference, and coordinated group movements usually led by experienced females who indicate direction simply by starting to move. In these groups, following a specific individual voluntarily and without coercion is a behavior that expresses trust, social preference, and a sense of belonging to that subgroup. So when your horse follows you, they are not just walking behind you. They are replicating a natural pattern of herd behavior in which they choose to align with someone they consider a safe leader or a reliable partner. This is an evolutionary need to stay with whoever increases the sense of security and predictability of the environment. In the eyes of the horse, you are not just the human who gives food. You are part of their herd and someone worth accompanying. Now stop and think. Does your horse follow anyone, or is it mainly you? Research shows that domestic animals, including horses, are selective regarding humans with whom they have had positive experiences. They tend to approach and stay longer near people they associate with comfort, predictability, and the absence of punishment. In horses, this appears as an increase in affiliative behaviors with specific caregivers and fewer signs of stress or aggression. If they choose to follow you, especially in an environment where they could easily occupy themselves with grass or other horses, it indicates a clear social preference. In horse groups, this preference is usually observed between herd friends who walk together, rest nearby, and groom each other, demonstrating stable and lasting bonds. In your daily life, this means they do not do this with just anyone because not everyone has built that history of positive experiences. For the horse, following you is a privilege. It is their way of showing they recognize you as someone they can trust. In a scientific context, this is interpreted as a practical indicator of a positive bond and well-being in the human-horse relationship. You are quite literally the chosen person. And here it gets even more interesting. When your horse follows you with a calm posture and no signs of fear or pressure, they are sending a complex message. I chose you, I trust you to guide me, and I feel protected and comfortable in your presence. This set of behaviors is recognized in literature as a sign of an affiliative relationship and positive attachment. It is not just mechanical proximity, it is a behavioral validation of the bond you built. Relationships with humans can reduce fear behaviors and facilitate veterinary management because horses perceive these interactions as predictable and safe. When you respond to this invitation with calmness and respect for their space, you reinforce this cycle of trust and strengthen the bond even further. Think about it for a second. This is pure trust, visible in every step they take behind you, without a rope or pressure, just by choice. So the next time your horse follows you through the pasture, remember, it is not just an automatic behavior. The science of behavior and attachment shows they are expressing trust, social bonding, recognition of your scent, and an instinctive need to be near those who make them feel secure. They are choosing you the same way a horse in a herd chooses to stay beside a companion with strong ties. This behavior was never small for them, and now that you know the scientific basis behind it, it should not be small for you either.